does a patchwork of ancient tribes, invaders, and rival kings become the England we know today? It's a story that spans thousands of years, one of conquest, culture, and identity. From Roman legions to Viking raiders, from Norman castles to royal unions, England wasn't born overnight. It was forged, but the road to England's formation wasn't clean or simple. It was full of chaos, ambition, and turning points that could have gone either way. Long before anyone called it England, this island was home to hunter-gatherers and Celtic tribes who ruled their small territories. When the Romans arrived in AD 43, they didn't just conquer, they built. Cities like Llandinium, Bath, and York began to take shape, roads connected regions, and a structured economy emerged. For nearly 4 centuries, Roman Britain thrived, until the empire crumbled. Around 410 AD, Rome withdrew its legions, leaving behind stone roads, baths, and walls. But no leadership. What followed was chaos, the perfect stage for new powers to rise. And rise they did. With Rome gone, Britain was open and vulnerable. Germanic tribes, known as the Angles, Saxons, and Jutes, crossed the North Sea. Some invited as mercenaries, others as conquerors. Over time, these settlers carved up the island into small kingdoms: Wessex, Mercia, Northumbria, East Anglia, together known as the Heptarchy. Each fought for land and power, and though they shared language roots, there was no England. Still, something new was forming. Christianity spread, Latin mixed with Old English, and small communities started to think of themselves as part of something larger. By the early 10th century, the word Angloland, the land of the English, began to appear. But that unity would soon face a test from the sea. Starting in the late 700s, long ships appeared on the horizon. The Vikings, fierce raiders from Denmark and Norway, launched relentless attacks on monasteries and towns. But they didn't stop there. They stayed, settled, and demanded tribute. Huge parts of England fell under Viking control, known as the Danell. The balance of power shifted again. For a time, it looked as if the English kingdoms would vanish completely. Then came Alfred the Great, the King of Wessex, who refused to give in. Through strategy, fortifications, and diplomacy, Alfred pushed back the Vikings and laid the foundation for a united realm. His grandson, Athelstan, finally achieved what no one had before. In 927 AD, he became the first king to rule over nearly all of England. For the first time, there was a single kingdom called England. But even that achievement didn't last unchallenged, because another invasion was coming, one that would change everything. When King Edward the Confessor died without an heir, England fell into a dangerous power vacuum. 3 men claimed the crown: Harold Godwinson of England, Harold Hardrada of Norway, and William, Duke of Normandy. What followed became one of the most famous battles in history, the Battle of Hastings. William's victory in 1066 wasn't just military, it rewired England's DNA. He replaced the Anglo-Saxon elite with Norman nobles, introduced the feudal system, and made French the language of power. Castles rose across the land. The Doomsday Book catalogued the kingdom, and England entered a new era of control and administration. But the price was steep. Centuries of cultural tension between the Old English and their Norman rulers. Still, it was this mix, Saxon roots and Norman order, that forged the England we recognize today. Yet, unifying power wasn't the same as uniting identity. Over the next few centuries, England's kings faced rebellions, wars with France, and internal struggles for control. But in this turbulence, institutions were born: the English Parliament, common law, and a growing sense of national pride. By the 1500s, under the Tudors, England began to consolidate. The church split from Rome under Henry VIII, making the monarch both head of state and head of church, a monumental shift in identity and independence. Wales was legally incorporated into the kingdom in the 1500s, and English influence spread beyond the island's borders through exploration and trade. For the first time, England wasn't just a land, it was an idea, a distinct language, law, and culture that carried power far beyond its shores. But another union and a new identity crisis waited just ahead. Despite sharing the same island, England and Scotland had long been rivals, politically, culturally, even religiously. But by the early 1700s, both saw opportunity in unity. In 1707, the two kingdoms merged under the Acts of Union, forming the Kingdom of Great Britain. England, as an independent sovereign nation, technically ceased to exist, but its influence dominated the Union. English law, language, and governance set the tone for the new Britain. Still, this raised a question that echoes even today. If England is part of a greater union, what makes someone English? Modern debates over identity, devolution, and nationalism show that the story of England is still unfolding. It's not just a country, it's a legacy, one built on centuries of change. Conclusion: the making of England's identity, from Celtic tribes to Roman rule, from Viking invasions to Norman conquest, from kingdom to empire, England was never formed in peace, but through transformation. Every era left its mark. The Romans gave roads and cities. The Saxons gave language and law. The Normans gave order and structure. Even today, when you walk through London, York, or Canterbury, you're re-walking through layers of history, each brick whispering the story of how England came to be. So, the next time someone asks, when was England formed? The real answer is, it's still being formed, because England, S&T, just a date on a timeline. It's an evolving story of people, power, and identity.